I am a witness to the lost, known by many, named by none. Welcome to the day I died, where the past speaks its final truths. In 79 AD, Pompeii thrived by the Bay of Naples, a city of laughter, of life, blessed by the gods, or so they believed. Mount Vesuvius, their silent guardian, awoke with fire and ash, burying them all. Yet in death, they were given immortality. This is the story of Livia and the day her world ended.
My name is Livia. I was born in Pompeii, and I thought I would grow old there, with my husband Gaius, watching our son Marcus grow up, learning to fish like his papa, then laughing as we watched our grandchildren chase geese in the courtyard. Our days were simple, full of sunlight pouring through our terracotta roof tiles, and the scent of olives and warm loaves of bread baking in the communal ovens. Gaius was a skilled fisherman. He left in the mornings before dawn. How long he would be gone depended on whether or not the gods would choose to fill his nets. As he left every morning, he would kiss my forehead and whisper, "I'll see you soon, my love." I always pretended to be asleep, though I waited for that kiss every day. Our son, Marcus, was 7 years old, full of energy and wide-eyed curiosity, always asking questions like why the sea sparkles or why the gods painted the sky pink at dusk. Pompeii moved slowly, but it was always alive with merchants, fishermen, music, and the sounds of carts and footsteps echoing on stone. That morning, we bought figs from the market. Marcus begged me to let him have one. When I said no, the merchant tossed one to him with a wink and a smile. When we went to get bread, I tried to show Marcus how they kneaded dough, but he jumped up and joined the baker's boy, who was chasing chickens through the alley as neighbors laughed nearby. If I had known how few days were left, I would have held Marcus a little longer. I would have risen with Gaius that morning and returned his kiss. It began at midday, when the sun warmed the square and the market buzzed with gossip. A strange sound echoed across the bay, like the earth was growling or beginning to choke. We looked toward Vesuvius, confused. The sky darkened, not gradually like evening, but sharply, suddenly, as though a giant hand had snuffed out the sun. Then the giant let out a roar and began hurling stones at our city, the sound of ceiling tiles breaking mixed with the horrifying cries of men and beast alike as they were smitten by the monster the gods had sent. Then the ash began to fall, at first soft like snow, then heavy. People ran through the streets, stumbling over the stones under the darkened sky, some shouting pleas for forgiveness from the gods for some unknown slight that had angered them. Some just cried. I scooped Marcus up from the courtyard, held him tight to my chest, and ran to our home, where I hoped the stone walls would protect us. He cried for his papa. How far had he sailed? Does he know what fate has befallen us? I longed for his return too, but thanked the gods that he at least was safe. He asked if Papa would find us. I whispered yes. I lied. Evening arrived, and every hour brought more noise. Cracks like thunder, roofs collapsing under the weight of the ash and pumice, screams of the frightened, cries of the wounded, and soulful mourning for the dead. I tried to stay calm for Marcus. I told him it was only a storm that would soon pass. The lamps we lit barely pierced the dark. The air began to taste bitter. I covered Marcus's mouth with a cloth soaked in water. He asked if the sun would come back tomorrow. I told him yes. I lied again. Night fell, and it felt like the longest night the world had ever known. The darkness wasn't just outside. It sank into everything, like ink poured over the city. Ash crept in through every crack. We could hear people calling to one another, trying to find loved ones, but the voices were fading, I could feel the weight of the sky pressing down. Each time I thought we should try to run, another tremor shook the walls. By the time I was able to try the door, it was blocked by the ash and pumice outside. Our street was buried now, and where would we have gone anyway? I held Marcus in my arms, wrapped in every blanket we had. He kept asking when Papa would come home. I assured him Papa was on his way, and whispered stories to him, stories of the sea, of stars, of fish that glowed in the deep. He laughed for a moment. Quietly, I wept. Sometime in the small hours, Marcus fell asleep in my lap, fingers curled in my tunic. I didn't sleep. I listened. To the mountain rumbling, to the city moaning. I knew it wasn't over. Something worse was coming. The air grew hotter, thicker. I said a prayer to Vesta, to Neptune, to anyone who might be listening. And I whispered promises to Marcus I would always love him and never leave him, no matter what. The moment came just after dawn, though we couldn't see the sun. The rumbling deepened, no longer distant, but close, beneath us. The walls trembled, the air burned. I knew. I pressed Marcus to my chest and covered him with my body. I could hear people outside screaming again, and then nothing, just wind. But it wasn't wind, it was heat. Heat so intense you could hear it consuming everything in its path and leaving nothing but silence in its wake. The door buckled inward. A wave of fire and ash slammed through the room, faster than breath. I remember no pain, only light. A flash, then silence. And then, centuries. We lay beneath the earth for nearly 1,700 years, entombed in ash, wrapped in stillness. When they found us, my arms were still around Marcus, his face still pressed into my chest. I had fulfilled my promise never to leave him. I was Livia. My son was Marcus. This was the day we died, and the world kept turning.
Livia's voice echoes through time, preserved by the very ash that took her. I will return with another tale of the lost. What other doomed stories would you like to hear? Comment below, smite the like button, and subscribe to witness more.